that too. But let's have a look at Bernie first. Okay, Bernie Sanders loves coming to New York. That was a couple days ago. Why is he trending? Start to talk about raising taxes. Reality, New Yorkers already pay far more than Vermonters. The irony is so rich, Bernie probably wants to tax that too. Breaking, Bernie Sanders faces backlash after photos show him flying first class to no Kings rallies amid a TSA shutdown. TSA. Oh, that's the people that help you through, basically the people that help you get on the airplanes, right? TSA. Transportation Security Administration. The lines at airports they control. Despite repeated warning about the urgency of climate change and railing against oligarchy, like this is such a strange thing to hit to come after someone. Like you need hmm, you need to be able to fly your politician and get around and interact with people to get your message out there. Coming after him for that, it's just dumb. Clip goes viral of a bird perfectly landing on podium during a rap.
See, this little bird doesn't know it. Oh.
I mean, like, shoo the bird away and get back to the speech. Is that why he's trending? Because a bird landed on his podium? Joe Rogan educates Bernie Sanders on the so-called climate crisis. Ooh, that's something. Oh, 3 minutes.
You got to deal
I mean, let's have a listen.
with this climate change issue. And I know that, there are some people who think climate change is a hoax. It ain't a hoax.
Definitely not a hoax.
I think the last 10 years have been the warmest on record.
I think the climate change issue is very complicated. And I think...
it is also very complicated.
Did you see the Washington Post piece that they wrote where they did this long-term view? First of all, the reality is that the Earth's temperature has never been static, right? We could both agree on that. It's always been up and down. There's been ice ages and heat waves. And then the Washington Post looked at it. What was the time period that they looked at? That essentially they found that we're in a cooling period. That the Earth over the past X amount of years, and this was like a very inconvenient discovery, but they had to report the data, and kudos to them for doing that. Scientists have captured the Earth's climate change over the last 485 million years. Here's a surprising place we stand now. So look at the far end of that graph. And
like, weren't we in like a technical ice age or something still?
And you see we're in a cooling period.
Like,
Well, I'm not sure. I didn't read that article, but
Yeah.
I mean, cooling period or not, the fact that we are adjusting the temperature of the climate is undeniable. Like, the world's been warm before, but I don't think it's seen a change in the scope that it's currently seeing. Let me ask that. Are we currently in an ice age or a cooling period of the Earth? Maybe they don't call it an ice age. Oh, they do. Okay, I heard that somewhere. Yes, Earth is technically still in an ice age, specifically the ongoing Quaternary Ice Age, also called, nope, not going to do that, which began about 2.58 million years ago. However, we are not in a glacial phase or any sort of cooling period. Instead, we are living in a warm interglacial period called the Holocene, which started roughly 11,000, 12,000 years ago, the end of the last major glacial advance. Key distinction in terminology: Ice Age, broad sense, a long geological interval, millions of years, when Earth has permanent polar ice sheets and experiences repeated cycles of cooler glacial periods, when ice sheets expand over continents, and warmer interglacial periods when they retreat. By this definition, we remain in an ice age because larger ice sheets still exist on Greenland and Antarctica. So, on the broad sense things, you're still in a cooler period on Earth. But like a last 11,000, 12,000 years, which means all of like what we understand as human civilization has come about in this cooler period. How a hotter period will affect us, we do not know. But we are definitely heating the earth. So we're on our way to find out. Current climate trends. Apart from cooling, Earth is in a clear warming phase, driven primarily by human greenhouse gas emission. Global average surface temperature has risen significantly since, with the 10 warmest years on record occurring since 2015. Yeah, so we're making a warming period. I mean, climate change or global warming or whatever you want to call it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for all the negative environmental issues it brings. Like the fact that, well, you see sea level rise, which is, it's going to be a problem. Uh, like so much of humanity is on the coast. The sea rises, like you're going to lose coastal land significantly. More extreme weather events. I mean, let's see. Because I remember extreme weather events when I was young too. Is climate change causing more extreme weather phenomena? Let's just see what the data says. Yes, human caused climate change is already, yeah, you can scroll along. Yeah. Yes, human caused climate change is already increasing the frequency and or intensity of many types of extreme weather events globally. According to the overwhelming scientific consensus and attribution studies, this is not about claiming every single storm, drought, or heat wave is caused solely by climate change, but rather that warming has shifted the odds and severities for several categories of extremes in a detectable way. Go back to that clip.
the scientists who are out there, I think.
I know, but there's a lot of money involved in that too, Bernie. That's part of the problem. There's a lot of money involved in this whole climate change emergency issue, and there's a lot of control, and that's a big part of this problem. Not only that, if we're just talking about primarily carbon and carbon footprint, what are we going to do about China? Because China and
Absolutely. It's not an American issue. It is a global issue. And all I can tell you is that we are, in my view, going to see more extreme weather disturbances in the coming years than we have ever. And we're seeing them right now. We are seeing
right, but
I mean, there are cities that already have to spend millions to billions of extra dollars because of rising sea level. I think I was watching something on Miami and how far they have to go to try and like save their land. And that's all getting worse.
scientists don't agree. Well, this is where it gets confusing, because scientists that are in agreement, there's all these entanglements. Whenever someone's discussing something, whether it's economics or whether it's health issues or pharmaceutical drugs, there's financial entanglements. I think we both agree with that, right?
Yep.
And I think this is part of the issue with this whole climate change emergency as well, because whenever there's an issue that everyone can agree on, you're going to have a bunch of people that capitalize on that issue, and they look to gain more money. They have financial issues that they push forward in order to capitalize on this issue, but then also power and control. These things like they're trying to institute in the UK, where they have these 15-minute cities, this concept where you're not allowed to travel. They'll be able to look at your carbon footprint. See, that's the problem. The problem is giving people that are in power, these people that we've all discussed that have so much money and so much control over our societies, multinational corporations, giving them more control over citizens. And this is a vehicle for that. And this is what's dangerous about this whole climate change emergency, because it allows these fucking creeps that have been controlling people and controlling what you do and what you say and how you spend your money with people that are already living check to check, and you put additional constraints on them and you make them even more scared. And then you put additional measures where you can look at their carbon footprint, you can look at the amount they travel. What do you put a carbon tax on these people? Let's figure out how to extract more money from them. That's what bothers me about this climate change emergency.
I don't think you should be putting climate change onto an individual citizen. I believe that this should be something that is handled by a government through their financing. If you want to assist climate change, well, you invest into solar, wind power, and we're seeing that the cost of solar energy is currently the cheapest way to get energy. But trying to push it onto citizens and then this citizen, offset your carbon with your plane flight with an extra $1. I don't think that's the way to go about it. It really needs to be a government-driven push against. Bernie Sanders, who say billionaires don't pay their share. I think there needs to be a complete change in how we do taxation.
And so what do people say? What do you say to people like Bernie Sanders, who says it every day, 20 times a day, billionaires and millionaires don't pay their fair share?
I don't know what he means by fair share. I've listened to that my whole life, and I don't know what he means. I mean, I think that we could acknowledge there are flaws and attack the flaws. I don't think just taxing someone.
Yeah. There are flaws. Change the taxation system to address the flaws.
No one is going to attack the flaws. As a matter of fact, I don't think most American citizens believe that if we taxed $1 trillion more and sent it down to Washington, D.C., that the country be worse off. I think what they believe.
What is that?
$1 billion more and sent it down to Washington, D.C. believe that if we attack the floor. As a matter of fact, I don't think most American citizens believe that if we taxed $1 trillion more and sent it down to Washington, D.C., that the country be worse off. I think what they believe is that money be given out to special interest groups and the friends of this politician, that politician. We need policy that drives growth, and that's regulatory policy. I think immigration policy. We should allow more merit-based and path to citizenship. There are a lot. I think we should double the earned income tax credit. Like literally, if you are making $14,000 or $15,000 a year, that the government give you 12, not just 6. And I think that would put money in the hands of people working. It would be better social outcomes, more home ownership, less crime, less recidivism. That first rung in the ladder leads to the second rung, and the money would be spent in their local communities.
Do you like the idea?
And we could do all that if you tax the rich a little more. All of what you described requires money. Get that money through taxation. Problem solved.
Do you have Trump accounts?
Yes, I think it's a great idea. And
Okay. He was talking about U.S. stuff there that don't really. AI. God.
so-
New York City, Mayor Norman Mondami and Bernie Sanders are rallying to attempt to raise the top tax rates on businesses and individuals before their budget deadline, April 1st. Top earners will be expected to pay 52% of their income in taxes. For individuals, income less than 5 billion. Income less than 5 billion. 10.8% tax rate. Income less than 25 million. 11.4 tax rate. City, state, federal. 52 corporate tax rate. Okay. 5 million. That's 5 million. Okay. I don't see why he's trending right now. Bernie Sanders in 2015, open borders, that's a right-wing proposal. It says essentially there is no U.S. It would make everyone in America poorer. What right-wing people in this country would love is border policy. I don't believe in that. Isn't Trump like exact opposite of that?
Open.
So doesn't that mean Bernie Sanders has the same opinion as Trump when it comes to immigration? Who says we can't find common ground?
Borders.
Foreign aid,
No,
open borders.
that's a Koch brothers proposal. The idea, of course, I mean, that's a right-wing proposal which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a
excuse
lot
me,
of global poor richer, wouldn't it?
and it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state. And I don't think there's any country in the world which believes in that. If you believe in a nation state, or in a country called the United States, or UK, or Denmark, or any other country, you have an obligation, in my view, to do everything we can to help poor people. What right-wing people in this country would love is an open border policy. Bring in all kinds of people who work for $2 or $3 an hour. That would be great for them. I don't believe in that. I think we have to raise wages in this country. I think we have to do everything that we can to create the millions of jobs. Do you know what youth unemployment in the United States of America today? If you're white, a white kid, high school graduate, 33%, a Hispanic, 36%, African-American, 51%. You think we should open the borders and bring in a lot of low-wage workers? Or do you think maybe we should try to get jobs for those kids? So I think from a moral responsibility, we've got to work with the rest of the industrialized world to address the problems of international poverty. But you don't do that by making people in this country even poorer.
Always liked Bernie Sanders. Shame he got screwed over by the Democratic Party.